Welcome to The Now. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Gus.
We're early in 2018, but it's already been chock full of Xbox rumors and leaks for gamers to chew on. Looks like one of the big ones from last week just came to pass. This morning, Microsoft announced that it's going to be expanding Xbox Game Pass in a really big way. It's got huge implications for the future of Xbox.
That's right. Xbox Game Pass will now include same-day launch of Xbox exclusives on the subscription service, giving you access to some of their biggest games at no extra cost.
On launch day, that's huge.
That's huge, and we're here to break down more about that announcement and what it could mean for Microsoft, because it could essentially turn their console into a mini Netflix.
Now, remember when everyone was mad about Xbox trying to force everyone into like the whole all-digital future and they announced the console? Who's laughing now? Well, probably everybody still, but that could change.
The big Xbox Game Pass announcement came by way of a blog post by boss Phil Spencer on the Xbox blog. There he talked about how much everyone loves Game Pass, how they're always expanding the library, and what the next evolution of the service is going to be.
Although I note that they didn't include subscription numbers. They've never shared Xbox Game Pass subscription numbers, so could be interesting.
Like 10 people are happy.
Spencer wrote, "Today we're excited to announce plans for a major expansion to Xbox Game Pass that underscores our commitment to deliver our fans the ultimate gaming subscription service. Moving forward, we plan to release all new Xbox One exclusive games from Microsoft Studios into Xbox Game Pass on the same date as their global release. This means that when Sea of Thieves launches on March 20th, it will be included in Xbox Game Pass to all members."
He went on to say this plan to bring new games timed with their global release into Xbox Game Pass not only includes announced titles like Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, and Crackdown 3, but future unannounced games from Microsoft Studios, including new iterations of our biggest Xbox One exclusive franchises, such as Halo, Forza, and Gears of War, on the same day they launch. So, new Gears of War confirmed.
Confirmed. We know they're coming. As if it was in doubt. But hey, extra confirmed. He also indicated that some version of Game Pass could be coming to PC soon, but at the moment, nothing to announce on that front.
So that's pretty big news if you want to play basically any of those Xbox exclusives coming out this year. And at the moment, that list includes the previously mentioned Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, Crackdown 3, and more than likely Forza Horizon 4. That last one hasn't been officially announced, but given the franchise's release schedule, it seems pretty likely.
Yeah, dude. Forza Horizon 3 was awesome. I love that game. I don't even play a lot of racing games, but Horizon 3 was dope. Unless they're all like super busy, frantically trying to hire enough people to work on new Fable game. So the fact that you can play any of those games on an unlimited basis right at launch for $10 a month, plus the other 100 plus games already on the service, that's a pretty enticing offer for both hardcore and casual gamers.
$10 a month, $120 a year.
Two
if you're
games,
playing more than two games,
yeah.
You're set.
Right.
When Game Pass was first announced, it seemed more geared to the casual market that didn't buy quite as many games.
Because it was a lot of like older stuff that's
Right.
like, hey, here are these things. If you're a hardcore gamer who buys everything right at launch, you may have already had these.
Right.
If you're not and you just want to have something to play, here's your library.
Yeah, I kind of skipped over it because I'd already played
Exactly.
a lot of the library.
Yeah.
But with new titles, it's totally different. And this definitely changes, the audience quite a bit. As it stands with this new announcement, it basically makes Game Pass an EA access where you also get all the new games, which is a very bold move for Microsoft to increase the scope of the service.
This announcement was first hinted at by industry insider and games analyst Daniel Ahmad last week, who said that Microsoft is about to start making big strides this year for their next generation initiatives, whatever that ends up looking like for Xbox. Now we might have a better idea.
In some ways, this realigns Xbox with some of the ideas that Microsoft had for the console in the first place, only before they were a bit poorly implemented and definitely poorly communicated.
The idea wasn't even that bad. It's just that the way Microsoft talked about it, they were getting way into like the technical details and the 24-hour check-in. If they had just said, you're going to be able to digitally lend and trade games, people would have been all about it. But then they get into like the nitty-gritty that no one really wanted, but you share that and it suddenly comes to the forefront.
No one wants to know how the sausage is made.
No.
When they announced the Xbox One way back in 2013, 5 years ago, remember that?
Oh my God.
There were a number of features the company thought would be exciting for gamers, like an idea that it would store your disc-based games on your console digitally, meaning you could access them from anywhere without needing the physical copy. The same system would also allow for family sharing, giving your family unlimited access to games remotely as well.
But then that level of sharing came with this unprecedented amount of authentication for consoles, also known as DRM, which led to well, more than a few PR problems, especially when it came to reselling games or buying used games, and that's really where they stumbled.
Yeah, I'm sure you well remember that whole thing went disastrously, and Microsoft eventually walked back a lot of those features. However, now they've been slowly, much more quietly, returning to the idea of embracing Xbox as a digital platform, and expanding Game Pass in this way is something that we haven't seen yet from any other competition.
Definitely not at this level. I mean, we already mentioned basically the value proposition. If you basically want to play 2 exclusives a year and you just get this instead, you've already made your money back, and then any of those games that you play on top of that, that's just great. I mean,
it's gravy.
It's gravy. But then that begs another question, which is what Microsoft gets out of this, because at first glance it seems like that would lead to fewer people buying their exclusives, or at the very least the company losing money in the long run when people are subscribing rather than buying.
Because one very fair point about this idea is that it looks like, well, maybe a little desperate.
Well, that's one interpretation.
Yeah, after all, a strategy like this really only works if you don't have a huge pool of exclusives to offer in the first place.
Oh, you mean like if you're not losing too much of a value proposition.
Right.
Regardless, the thing they get out of this move, though, is paying subscribers who, like, even if you're like, I don't feel like playing anything this month, it's $10, whatever, right? At the moment, Xbox Live is one of their biggest strengths. If you turn all of those 50+ million Xbox Live members into Game Pass subscribers, that's pretty much a game changer for the entire company. And the thing is, Game Pass is also open to non-Xbox Live Gold subscribers as well, which makes it that much more attractive as a platform for budget-conscious gamers.
Absolutely. So the question about lowering individual title sales, some are predicting it'll actually do the opposite. NPD analyst Matt Piscatello wrote, "This is big and another reason why subscription spending should get to exponential growth. Also see this positively impacting sales of these games as well due to increased exposure and reach. Very exciting move by Microsoft."
So they're going by the word of mouth, people talking about it, then spreading more sales. I guess that makes sense. At the very least, this would probably have the added benefit of creating healthy long-term online communities for games on Xbox. Look, Fortnite Battle Royale being free has done wonders for that game's numbers. If you get a bunch of people with these subscriptions who end up playing more of these games because they're included and they don't cost full retail, you can create a good ecosystem.
In a sense, this is Microsoft truly making the move of turning Xbox Game Pass into the Netflix of video games. That was a nickname people gave to it when it was first announced, mostly because of the concepts were similar on the surface. But like Netflix, it looks like Xbox wants to increase its subscriber base by offering premium content.
Netflix has done that through a huge investment in original programming, and what used to be a movie rental streaming service is now more of an original TV channel, or, well, sometimes movie channel that occasionally offers other studios' content to watch.
They used to mail you discs.
I remember that. I was a Netflix subscriber way back in the day, and when they added streaming, there were just like a couple things you could stream. Time Bandits was one of the few things that you could actually stream, and I was like, man, you need good internet for this. I don't know if this is ever going to take off.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Similar to Netflix, Xbox Game Pass under this model could see the same thing happening to their subscription service, and realistically, given the price, the entire Xbox One as a platform. You just buy a console, pay $10 a month, and have access to not only hundreds of games, but all of Microsoft's exclusives from the day of launch. It's a tough pitch to beat if you're looking at choosing between the different consoles.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense too if Microsoft ultimately decides to forego proper console generations as we know them, which is something they've been talking about, with games being backward and forward compatible even as the technology improves. Keeping a super cheap Xbox One S or something like that available at the very low end years down the line could see people jumping into the Xbox family at a price much lower than the competition.
And as the service grows, it could also lead to loads of possibilities when delivering new games. Phil Spencer even hinted at that in the blog post, adding, "We've only scratched the surface of the opportunity this new model brings to the industry and what we can deliver to our fans. We firmly believe Xbox Game Pass will be a catalyst to create new opportunities for game developers and publishers to innovate in the way games are developed and delivered, leading to entirely new ways to play."
That's interesting. Yeah, so it could mean content that's exclusive to Game Pass or episodic or experimental content that's primarily funded by subscriptions. They could try new games out, turn it into a publishing model for smaller titles with relative ease, really.
Yeah, and if nothing else, it points towards some exciting possibilities for the future not only of Xbox, but gaming as a whole. If successful, others in the industry might have to follow suit to match the kind of offering seen here.
Which is one of the nice things about having competition out there. It fuels innovation. Look how much better PlayStation Plus got after they were chasing a lot of the feature set of Xbox Live. Like, now it's pretty great. So we'll see if this particular experiment takes off.
You eventually be able to change your name on PSN.
someday.
coming soon.
Maybe this year.
Yeah, they announced,
theoretically.
They said maybe this year.
Yeah, possibly. But one of the things that I find quite interesting about this announcement too is this has the potential to really change the way Microsoft talks about games and numbers. Like right now, you'd be like, oh, it sold 10 million copies. Whereas this could be 60 million people played this game. Mm-hmm. So it's much more of the like active, like the users, as opposed to specific sales numbers they might be able to talk about, which changes that language entirely.
I'm also curious on the business side how they'll do revenue sharing with partners, if they will do any revenue sharing with partners who agree to distribute games on Xbox Game Pass. Like YouTube Red, you don't get any ads on YouTube, but a portion of your subscription goes to the channels you're watching. Will it be a similar thing where third-party companies get money if more people play their games?
Well, and what Netflix does is they will license. They'll license content and they'll pay you a lump sum for it. They won't give you any numbers about what it ends up doing. It's basically they license your content. It goes into a black box, and then you get no data back about it. But it's it is like it's fine. You got the money. Are they going to renew it? Or are they not? And that's the only
so it's a couple of options they could go with here.
Yeah,
a few different directions.
Yeah, and also so the closest thing that PlayStation's got is PlayStation Now, which is similar except they're not doing day and date, and it's streaming based.
Yes,
which
a little bit of latency.
Right, whereas Xbox Game Pass is it's still digital distribution. You have to download the games, but you do download them to your system, so you don't have to worry about internet speeds and latency while you're actually playing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I'm most curious about, right? They say they have 50 million subscribers they could potentially market to, but how many of them have access to reliable broadband? Seems like their initial rollout would be very United States focused, because a lot of other countries have metered broadband and data caps.
Yeah,
so
unless you're in like
how that affects.
Somewhere awesome like Sweden or Switzerland's got awesome internet everywhere. I'm so jealous. Anyway, what do you guys think of Microsoft's changes to Game Pass? Bold move? Hail Mary? Let us know in the comments.
For future updates on the future of Xbox, remember to like this video, and if you're new around here, subscribe to the know.
But now, well, probably everybody still, but that could change.
Oh, it's my turn, isn't it? I was like, yeah, who is laughing now? I was just thinking about it. And at the moment, that list includes the previously mentioned State of Thieves. That's not a game.
That's like a slightly smaller version.
Yeah.
It's like just a state.
Yeah, it's a Commonwealth of Thieves.